Hi everybody, it's Gene Simmons, and you're not. This is Kiss My Collectibles podcast. Don't you do that.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the next episode of Kiss My Collectibles. I am one of your co-hosts, Jason Herndon, and with me, as always, is...
Joe Lalich.
He actually said his real name.
Yes, I did.
Elizabeth Warren. I mean, Nicholas Buckland. Sorry.
Wow.
Well, you've got the hair to match this week.
Yeah, exactly. What's the German woman? Angela. I forget her name. Merkel. Right. Merkel.
Angela.
Yeah, I said that to the hairdresser. Give me the Angela Merkel.
That's hilarious. All right. So welcome to the next episode, guys. This week we're going to do Skip or Play, Peter Criss's solo album.
Woohoo!
Yeah, Joe is happy.
Joe's not happy, and Joe's not happy. So let's go.
Yeah, I'm sure it's going to be turned into a nice heated discussion.
Again.
Because, again. But it's going to be fun. This is, it's a polarizing... The great thing is about doing some of these records like we did Psycho Circus and stuff, they're such polarizing records within the community. A lot of people love them. Most people hate them, that sort of thing. So, there's kind of no middle ground. It's okay, so it should be a good fun discussion. So, Skip or Play. But before we get to Skip or Play, let's talk about all our plugs. So,
including Nicholas's hair plugs.
Including, the Merkel hair plugs. So
the Merkel, it's the Merkel system.
The Merkel system, yes, exactly. German efficiency. It just fits together in 3 pieces.
Does that look good? 9.
Smithy, you haven't seen any suspicious-looking characters hanging around, have you, who might be German spies?
9.
9? Well, Cap's got his work cut out then.
Oh my! Oh my God!
Oh boy! Oh boy!
Off
Oh boy!
the rails, man!
Yeah.
Off the rails. So, anyway, join us on Facebook at the Kiss My Collectibles and Kiss My Wax groups. Subscribe to our channel on YouTube. Ring the bell. Like our video, all that stuff. Follow us on Instagram at Kiss My Collectibles. Follow us on Twitter at KM Collectibles. And then maybe join us over on Patreon if you feel led. So patreon.com/Kiss My Collectibles. Give $1 a month. We would love the support. And then head over to Click T Shop and buy some swag. We got Kiss My Collectibles t-shirts. I think, Joe, you have a Click T Shop shirt on, don't you?
Maybe.
Maybe?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I honestly don't know where I got this one, but I know they do something similar.
They do the mother's shirt.
Yeah, so there you go. Yeah.
So if you want one that's like Joe's or similar to Joe's, that he has on, which is the famous Ace Frehley and the Mother's Music Emporium shirt from Nashville, Tennessee, head over to Click T Shop. They've got them. So.
Is that long gone, by the way? Mother's?
What? Oh, yes. Yeah. Many, many, many years ago. Long, long, long gone.
Like 90s or even before that?
Oh, before that. Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. So, and then as far as updates, let's talk a little bit about Ace Frehley, the Ace Frehley record, the 5th anniversary of Space Invader. Joe has finished the cover, hype sticker, poster. Most of the components are good to go. We've sent everything over to the label, and I believe the jackets are being printed probably now, or depending on when this airs, they may have already been printed. Yep. So that's in the works. We are probably in the midst of pressing records. Not 100% sure if that's going at this point in time, but anyway, it's hard to say with when this thing airs. But those 2 components should be going as you're watching this. And then from there, we have to get the jackets over to Ace so Ace can sign them. And then from there, they go over to our printer and fulfillment company, who will put all of the components together. So we'll probably
hand number them, which will be cool.
hand number them, all of that stuff. He'll put the components together, ship them out to everybody. Still have our fingers crossed for the end of November starting to ship. It may bleed into December. It just all kind of depends on getting all of the puzzle pieces together and really getting a time set down for Ace for him to sign all of the jackets. That's the hardest thing to nail down. But stick with us. We're getting you the records.
Yeah, the pieces are looking cool. I mean, at least I'm happy with them.
Yes, I am too.
Yeah, they look amazing.
You know, the poster looks really cool. I think that's going to be a really nice surprise for people.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to seeing this thing all put together and buttoned up. We've got all the pieces and parts for the slipcase, which looks really cool, and had some discussions around that. So yeah, it's all coming together. We're really looking forward to holding it in our hands as much as we are getting into your hands. So yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that poster is going to be a nice surprise and probably the hidden gem in the whole thing.
Yeah.
Because it's been a long time since anything Kiss related has been kind of printed like that. So
yeah,
if it's Mylar poster, it's going to be cool.
Yep.
So.
Hopefully people will dig it. And there's a new gatefold now. Not to ruin any surprises, but there's a new gatefold, which is really cool.
Yeah, completely different gatefold than the previous version or the original version. There's some cool stuff coming. So stand by. Also, you can still buy the hottest brand in the land. Head over to hottestbrandbook.com. $99, shipping now. Go buy it.
And then and using the same shipping company as you guys. It is. I mean, Tim, the guy who does shipping for us is absolutely amazing. Like he's on it. Like I sometimes I wake up in the morning and he goes, "I've already shipped this." Okay, I didn't even know I had an order. His customer service is absolutely amazing. So anyone out there who orders the Ace Frehley record will be getting a similar level of service. You'll have yours shipped pretty much within the same day you ordered, if not a couple of days. So he's a great guy and really helped us through the whole headache with some of the hottest brand stuff, and I'm sure we'll have a long partnership with him in the future for future stuff.
Yeah, there was a couple of points in the production of the book, and I'm sure there's going to be some lessons learned for that with the record as well, where he didn't feel like the box was good enough, and he had created the box, but he felt like it wasn't good enough, so he made sure that there was the extra space around all the sides and made sure that there was padding and that it would shrink, like the whole thing. He just made sure that thing. And I don't know, Nicholas, I can't imagine that there have been any returns, but very few, if any, from a damaged book. I mean, the thing it was built, those boxes are built like a tank, and the guy, he just went way above and beyond. He's a rock and roll fan, which is cool, and so I felt like he's been a brother in arms in this whole thing the whole time. Yeah. So huge shout out to Tim. He's awesome.
Yeah, I remember seeing a couple of reports in the group where somebody had said, I was worried because I got the package and the box was smashed on the corner, but the book was fine on the inside. That's because you got all of that padding.
I think if like maybe over 1,000 copies of the book. I think we've had two out of 1,000 from actual damage, and that's where something sharp's, I don't know what's happened in the mail. Something's actually punctured right through it. But every other bit, people have said, whoever the mail carrier damaged my thing, but when I went inside, because it sits inside, the book was perfectly fine. And one mail carrier left it out in the rain. Torrential rain saturated the whole box, and his book being shrink wrapped was perfectly fine, he said. So it's even to the point of shrink wrapping the thing inside. It was Tim went that extra mile, and I know he'll go the extra mile for any project going forward that we do with him.
Yeah, absolutely. So
and hopefully we have some nice projects on the horizon.
Yeah, some interesting news over the wire that we can't share, but we're another big step, which was pretty cool, happened over the last 24 hours.
Yep.
So that's pretty exciting. So that one's going to be fun.
Yeah, it will be fun.
It'll be a lot of us three fighting off camera and then coming on camera and smiling for you people like this.
Yeah. My brothers.
Hey.
Fuck you. My creative vision.
That's right. Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, good times, good times.
Always.
So, anyway, all right. So let's forego showing new stuff. We'll do that in the next one. And
We'll
let's
see that on the next one.
We'll see that on the next one. Hey, yeah.
There you go.
And then let's jump right into Skip or Play, Peter Criss. Shall we?
Yeah,
There's got to be some sort of funny insert that we're going to put in here, right?
Yeah.
There's got to
Gotta
be.
be.
Nicholas will cook something up. That'll be that pause. There'll be something interesting and funny there. Or not.
What do you do for fun? Do you have any hobbies?
You like to be kissed?
Did funny thing anyway.
Oh, boy. Okay, so who's got the list of these songs out?
Yeah, I got it up on my computer anyway.
I know them in my head.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, God. I think we start off with I'm gonna love you
Yeah.
track. Yeah, rousing straight in with a great one. Yeah.
And
Who
full
wants to go
disclosure.
Yeah.
Full disclosure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Peter Criss was my favorite member when I was a little kid. Okay.
Highest. Excuse me.
What was that?
Nothing.
What was that?
Nothing.
And because of that, I listened to this solo album more than the others. And remember, when I had this, I was young, 5 years old, and so I didn't have.
Still. What? What? Nothing. I think we've.
You're a bastard, man. It was all Kiss, and it was all good to me. And I know I've explained this a million times when we do these Skipper plays. So to me, I loved it all, man. And so it's tough for me to do these on any record. But I'll find some skips on this one if I can. But
Yeah, so I've got a couple of disclosures on this record.
Sure.
I don't know, Nicholas, if you want to go first or if you want me to go first. Do you have anything you want to say to the people?
I have got something, but then I'll you go first.
Yeah. So surprisingly, I kind of like this record. Surprisingly, when I was 8, and then I got into my musical maturity phase at 9 and went, this is not a good record. And also, Jason, I owe you an apology for many things. And this will just be a blanket apology, but the apology is I've talked to you in the past about how Skip and Play, we could have a nuanced discussion about these songs and be like, oh, this one has some good quality. Not on this record. This is just not in any way, shape, or form a good record. But we'll cover it. We'll cover this song by song and let the people decide.
I cannot wait to read the comments on this episode. It's gonna be so fun.
Yeah.
It'll be so fun.
Send all the hate mail to Jason Herndon doesn't know what he's talking about at badopinions.com.
Fair enough. I'll take it.
And I actually think it might be Jason and Nicholas don't know what they're talking about at badopinions.com.
You don't know what I'm going to say yet.
I have a feeling.
Well, but what I am going to say is, I would say that this could possibly be the best of the 4 solo albums, and I'll tell you why. My reasoning is, Peter was always wanted to go. So I actually, this is the most pure solo album. Like if you think Peter kind of got screwed over by this whole process. So he went, I'm in the band Kiss, and I want to do a record based on my sound and my songs. I'm gonna, I think they said he was going to leave the group, but whatever. He wanted to do it all his own way in the music style that he loved. Then somewhere in the process, they all went, oh, we're all going to do solo albums. He went, oh, fuck's sake. And we're all going to have the same Kiss. Now we're going to make them Kiss albums, and we're all going to have the makeup on the cover. And all of a sudden, everyone's criteria suddenly, who listened, suddenly went, we're judging this by, this doesn't match Kiss. I'm listening. This doesn't sound like a Kiss record, but it was never meant to be. I think he was going in the direction of, this is the music I always wanted to do. And, and then all of a sudden you get Ace come in with this absolutely cranking album, and Paul is such a Kiss album that Peter seems worse by comparison. But if you think of what it should have been, if Peter was better looking and looked more like Leif Garrett, it should have been his solo album, like a true solo away from the group album. So I think this album is a perfect snapshot of 1978. Like everything about it is 1978. It has that feel, and it's slightly disco, but not too disco. It's got that, it's got the tender ballads. It's actually got a lot more rock on it than what you remember. Like sometimes your brain thinks of, which we'll cover the track soon, but it's actually got a lot of rock and tunes. Probably more of a Bob Seger kind of direction. I kind of feel that it was in, which whether or not you like Bob Seger, but it's that kind of. It was current for 1978, so this is the most 1978 record, and it either dates or it's nostalgic purely by being a snapshot of that year, and that's why I think it is actually the best solo album, but it's not the best music. I still prefer Ace's music.
So here's what I heard you just say. I heard you just say that Peter's album is bad. And then when Gene, Ace, and Paul made all their records and put it in the group, Peter's record was really bad.
No.
So it would have been bad
really
on its own,
songs.
but man, what a stinker! Yeah. Really, really sucked compared to those other things.
Look, it's a terrible Kiss album, but it's a great solo album. Yeah. In my opinion.
I mean, I just think in general it's a terrible record. I mean, it's for me, it's damn near unlistenable. I mean, really, I had not heard this record. Jason, you were asking me off air.
Yep.
When's the last time I listened to this record? Mm-hmm. And I've got a confession. And if people don't think I don't like Kiss, this is going to bolster their opinion. That opinion. I don't think I had ever listened to this record all the way through, ever. Like, I had put the needle on each of those songs and gone, nope, 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 flip, nope, 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 and that was it. And probably hadn't listened to it in 30 years.
I just cannot fathom. Take the whole rest of the record away, how you cannot think that I Can't Stop the Rain is not a great song.
Oh. Yeah.
I don't understand.
Yeah, possibly the worst song on the record, but
oh my god!
Because you know what you do too. Like I honestly hadn't listened to it in years. Because really, why would any sane person do that? But I did.
Did you listen to it before this?
Yeah? I did. I listened to it twice. Wow. Yeah. And iTunes, typically they put a little star by songs that are the most popular on the record, and oh, this was the hit, or this is what people listen to, and. Yeah, I Can't Stop the Rain was one of them, and boy, oh boy.
So what you're saying is you do not like Sean Delaney as a songwriter?
No, not here.
It's basically a Sean Delaney.
Do you like Rocket Ride?
Yeah, when Ace does it. I mean, it becomes an Ace. It becomes whoever is the performance is. It's not it's not always. Good songs are good songs, of course. These to me are like the most lifeless attempt at like a late 60s kind of Chuck Berry kind of bass essential rock record, and it just is so horribly misguided and bad.
I mean, it was what ELO was doing at the same time too. They'd always have their ELO disco-y songs, and then they'd always have like a all over kind of 60s kind of pastiche kind of going on in that late. Remember, like the Who, what was the one that Paul McCartney did? That'll Be the Day the movie came out. It was that kind of throwback to the 60s that was going on in the late 70s. Yeah. We should start from. We should take a leaf out of Maria from The Sound of Music and start from the very beginning. What's the first track?
All right, first track. I'm Gonna Love You.
Yeah. I took copious notes for this record, but I'll let you guys go. You guys are the ones who seem to enjoy it, so let's hear it.
Am I going to go first?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, none of this is going to be shocking, but I love that track. I think it's a great opener, and I absolutely play that song. I love it. I love the horns in it.
Oh.
I love it.
I hate the horns. Oh God!
Let me ask you this before we get into this, Joe. Are there any songs on the record at all that you can play? You don't have to say how many. Just yes or no.
There was one. So I'll give a little bit of a spoiler alert. Not that you need it after my opening salvo.
Right.
I gave a 0 to 10 score for each of these songs, just as I was just jotting them down. One of them skyrocketed to a generous 5 out of 10.
All right. So for me, I'm Gonna Love You is a play. Okay.
Yeah.
Nicholas?
Yeah, well, I love this. This is such a great opener. Like, I love the horn section coming in. Like, yeah, it's got that real kind of a boogie.
I love the
Going
callback.
on about it moving on. The
call answer kind of backing vocals and
the rain will come shine. It's just got such a rhythm to it. And Peter's vocals in this one are just really spot on. So I love his vocals in this one. And of course, we're going to drop in a few here. This is, of course, a Lips demo. So we will drop in the very country and western sort of version from 1971. We'll drop it in right now, a short little piece of it.
And I'm gonna love you, rain come or shine, saying that you need me around you all the time, 'cause I really love you.
So you can see how different that sounds. Who was the other guy? Was it Stan Penridge did most of the vocals for that band? I think. Yeah. So that was Stan's vote. I don't think in any of these demos Peter's the singer on, except for the Beck, which is we're not going to do here because it's not part of the record.
Right.
Yeah.
Here's what I will say just in general about Peter as a singer. I think he is a great rock vocalist. Great rock vocalist. Not that it shows up here on this record at all. But on the Kiss records, I feel like, these songs just feel like such a parody of rock and roll songs to me. It almost seems like a Saturday Night Live skit. Like if you were going to put a bad rock record together, it seems like it's a Saturday Night. It's just so, yeah. But I think Peter has a great rock and roll voice. I really do. And I think actually probably one of the more underrated rock voices. I mean, people just don't know who he is, period. But man, I just think he's super underutilized. Not necessarily in Kiss, because I think there's better vocalists in Kiss. Maybe I don't know. I've always really enjoyed Peter's voice on the Kiss tracks that he sang on. Most of them, anyway.
Yeah,
he has a great rock voice.
Well, I think
he's got a great scream, doesn't he? Like on Gone Getaway, where he goes get away, get away. Does or almost like the voice breaks.
It's like very gravelly and it's very growly and yet very. It has some strength to it. I think he's a great vocalist. Yeah.
For a man who's technically tone deaf, he can sing pretty well.
So I'm going to give this one a blistering 3 out of 10.
And skip it.
I mean, look, the whole record is an absolute skip for me, but we'll just forego all that. So here's what I said about it. I said, boring, honky-tonk bar band dreck should have run over the credits to Roadhouse, but wasn't good enough.
Oh, man. Such a fun track.
It's awful.
Should have run over the credits to Roadhouse, but it wasn't good enough. Oh my gosh. Woo!
And by the way, we're all in such a good mood tonight because we're recording at night, Jason and I at least, and we're back in our element. Nicholas is recording during the day, and he's in his element, sort of.
Afternoon, yeah. I'm heading towards my element for Friday night.
So,
Yes.
That's why Daddy has his drink alongside. Yeah. So we're,
That's the kind of sugar Papa likes.
That's right.
I need about 50 more of these to power through this record.
Yeah.
All right. So we got two plays and a skip.
Yeah.
So the next one up is "You Matter to Me," the single.
That's why.
One of the singles.
the smash hit single.
The smash hit. Hey, it was a top 40 hit.
They had to drag the lake to find a single, and this happened to be it.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh, this is funny. All right, You Matter to Me. I like You Matter to Me. That's why I play this song.
Yeah. It's got that keyboard line that I don't know what they call it on it, where you can only play one note at a time, like mono whatever it is, where when you change the next note it doesn't double up as a chord, but it's got that. That's a very 70s. This one is the most 70s, and
absolutely.
Yeah, this is the one that was also recorded by John Travolta's brother, Joey Travolta, in a very even more Bee Gees style, which we'll play a little bit of here.
'Cause you matter to me, that's why. Girl, you matter to me. It's the only reason I need to get by. You still matter to me. Ooh.
And you'll just hear how disco-fied that version is. If Joe doesn't like Peter's version, he's not going to like Joey Travolta's version one bit. But
no.
I think he'll probably forward through that bit just to not hear that clip. But I really like it. It's a groovy kind of a song. You know, I like it. I give this one maybe a 6 or 7 out of 10 even.
Ooh, look at that.
Yeah. I like it.
Yeah, this is a hard skip. This
I love it.
Oh yeah. So what I wrote on this one: very poor man's Supertramp meets an even poorer man's Ambrosia.
Oh God.
And I liked Ambrosia. 2 out of 2 out of 10. Horrible. Awful.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Not ever going to be sent into space for Martians to hear it, because
the
human race would be too embarrassed.
You anti-matter to me, it would be.
But all right, up next, it's the cover song, right? Tossing and Turning. Is that the next one?
Yeah. The Bobby Lewis track, yeah.
Tossing and Turning.
Does everyone remember the figure? I'm sure the single it's been in a few movies before and that. Did you know the original song? Had you heard it before?
Oh, yes.
No, I've never heard the original.
You've never heard the original?
Well, really? Because we're playing it right now.
I couldn't sleep at all last night, just thinking of you. Maybe things weren't right. Well, I was tossing and turning and tossing and turning all night.
What did you think of that, Joe?
I loved it. I loved that version.
What were you about to say though, Joe? You what?
Sorry.
You had never heard what?
I had never heard the cover. I had never heard the original version of the song. At least to my knowledge, I hadn't.
Interesting.
Maybe
had you heard Joan Jett's version?
Maybe it's because Peter so butchered it. I couldn't make out the original through. Oh, you know what? I let myself down on this one. I didn't give it an out of 10 score.
We'll do it now. Do it on the fly.
We'll do it live.
We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
So tossing and turning. I'm just to play along. I don't hate this version of Tossing and Turning. I quite like Peter's vocals in this song. Especially towards the end of it, he gets really back into that screaming kind of gravelly stuff that he does. But if I'm gonna skip any song on the record, this is one of the ones I'm gonna skip. I don't necessarily prefer listening to Kiss do a lot of covers. Some, of course, but and I kind of think it's almost like if I was going to skip a song on Dynasty, 2000 Man would probably be the one, because I would rather hear original Kiss stuff than 2000 Man. Not that I don't think 2000 Man is done poorly or anything, but it's just less interesting to me. So I'm gonna skip Tossing and Turning.
is not to get too far off the track, but is that a general statement from you? Are all covers, like Van Halen covers of the Kink songs that they did and those kinds of things, are they less interesting to you than an original Van Halen track?
I think in most cases that unless that artist version cover of that song transcended the original, case in point, Hard to Handle, Black Crowes. Something like that where, Smoking in the Boys' Room, Motley Crue, where they made the hit out of the song. They're known for that particular song, where if you were listening to it and didn't know, but in most cases I would much rather hear an original track of the band than sit through a cover. There are a lot of those Van Halen covers that I don't care to listen to, that I would skip.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Look, I think it makes it their own. Like I like 2000 Man because it sounds nothing like the Rolling Stones version. The Rolling Stones version isn't even a very rockin' song, so that works. But I kind of felt with Tossin' and Turn, for the first thing on this, it felt a bit lukewarm to me. This was a bad cover version, not a bad cover version, but it just felt a bit flat compared to the energy in the original that we just listened to, and even the Joan Jett version, which we'll put on here.
I couldn't sleep at all last night, just a thinking about you. Baby, things weren't right. Well, I was tossing and turning and turned all night. Even that has a little bit more life to it. I don't know, this one, and then maybe it's been poisoned by listening to the band did it on the Dynasty tour as well, and even there it didn't sound that great from from memory. I don't know, this one's a bit flat for me. I know it was the single, but I don't think it was the greatest choice of the single, in this case. Maybe 4 or 5 out of 10. I don't hate it, but this would probably be my only skip, or not my only skip, but this may be a skip, this one. Yeah.
Let's hear it, Joe.
I wrote Limp and Lifeless. Had some promise. No horn solos, please.
Not a fan of horns?
Not on this record. 2 out of 10.
Not on this record.
Terrible.
How about horns in general?
Oh, sure. Yeah, okay. Absolutely. But kind of by rule, I don't love them in rock songs. I just feel like they kind of. I like heavier stuff. So I can't really think of any real, quote unquote, real rock songs or heavier rock songs where horns really worked. I'm sure there are some exceptions that I'm not thinking of.
The first 6 Chicago records are absolutely amazing, rockin' records with amazing horn solos.
Yeah, there are some
of that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think it's more about the song. I feel like these songs in general, all joking aside, they're such basic rock tracks. They're so basic, and so when they seem like schlocky attempts at real rock. Like Chicago to me had like a massive swing to it, and yet they meticulously merged rock and some kind of horn, even a little bit of jazz, and I think that was it was masterfully done. This to me is just a lifeless attempt at that, and it's just.
It'll feel like a bit of a pastiche for you, like sort of almost like it's trying to ape a genre that it really isn't, kind of
exactly. Yeah, it's not bringing anything new to the table. It's just bringing old, lifeless stuff. It honestly feels like bar band stuff to me, like I had said earlier. Like if you went and saw a bad white guy rock band at a blues bar or something, that's kind of what this feels like to me.
I can see that. I can see that comparison. Yeah.
Like there's no guts to it whatsoever. Like have some guts if you're gonna make a rock record. I don't care if you put horns in it. Like do what you want to do your thing. But man, it just seems so sleepy and lifeless and limp and just like God.
Speaking of sleepily lifeless and limp, Don't You Let Me Down is the next track.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It did. Just to say, it did.
Do you want me to? I'll fire first. It let me down. Doc of the Bay deserves some royalties, but would be ashamed to be associated with this thing, even in court. 1 out of 10.
Woo!
It's terrible.
Yeah.
I don't, again, hate this song,
Yeah.
but it probably is the 1 or 2 original tracks on the record that I do skip. It is very sleepy. There's not a lot of meat in the song at all. I mean, I know, Joe, you don't think there's any meat in any of the songs, but for sure this one is quite lifeless. So I would skip this one.
It almost has that Casio keyboard sound to it, where it's like, you know what I mean? It's just like that kind of like, oh my god, this metronome kind of, somebody kill me. It doesn't even seem like a live performance in any way, shape, or form. It seems like a really bad karaoke performance.
I wonder what his thought was. Like, I mean, if you think that, Don't You Let Me Down and Perhaps You Matter to Me are the singles, you can see that's assuming that he made the decisions on what his singles would be. You're kind of going, they're either he's pushing himself into that tender ballad or trying to go for the Beth hit. But yeah, this is kind of, I don't know what he's going for here. Is it like a bread kind of a easy listening kind of sound? But this one's a definite skip, and the one I probably enjoyed least. And it's weird because, again, as we said, it's a single. It's, once again, this is another one which we'll show again is based on the Lips demo.
And I said, baby, don't you let me down. Don't you let me down. Don't you leave me lonely. Don't you leave me lonely. Don't you run around. Oh, I said, baby.
And I don't know, both of them are ordinary. Neither, even the original demo had zero life to it as well. So this one's a skip.
All right, so
that's,
what did we get to?
I think that's the kind of sugar Papa
that's
likes,
the
right?
that's all right. That's the kind of sugar Papa likes. Is next.
Who's up? Who wants to talk about it?
I'll go first. I think it's lyrically, not that lyrically that anything on the record is deep or amazing or anything, but I think it's lyrically a pretty silly song. That being said, it's one of the more rockier songs on the record, and I actually quite enjoy it. I think the verses are really cool, so I'll play this one. Nicholas?
I like this one as well. I don't love it, but I do. There's some bits in it which you get that vocal that I talked about with Getaway, where he goes, up or down, where the hell, he does that kind of that where the voice breaks, and like Joe said, he kind of wished he would have gone in a more rock direction. But you have those little moments of rock where vocally anyway he breaks out, and you go, wow, he has got a cool singing voice there. It's not my favourite on the album. I wouldn't skip it. I'd probably still listen to it. Of course, I hate that title, but
right, that's the thing. Yeah.
Well, especially as we're on the sugar-free diet at home, so it's it's the kind of NutraSweet Papa likes or something. I don't know what. Cacao or something.
That's the kind of aspartame that Papa.
Papa likes. Is the one version. Yeah. But the guitar solo, cranking guitar solo from Mr. Steve Lukather from Toto. So
yeah. He never lets. Steve Lukather will never let you down.
No.
Yeah, rock god. That's the kind of sugar Papa likes. No, it's not. Has some promise in the bridge. Can kind of hear some Kiss in there. Not that I would. I actually liked the experiment of these 4 guys doing their own records. I actually liked what Gene did in a lot of places. I think people were expecting, a record full of God of Thunder, and they were expecting from Paul maybe, you get it, right? Like, Do You Love Me or something like that on that record, and Ace, full of Rocket Ride and that kind of stuff, and
right.
And then you get this crazy outlier. But I could almost hear in this song, like maybe if Paul sang it, and if it was really cranked up and it had some more guts and was a good song and was had a good whatever.
If it was a completely different song, it'd be great.
Yeah, right. If Paul told Peter to take a seat, I'll write a song for you. That's the kind of sugar Papa likes. 4 out of 10.
4 out of 10. That's funny.
Do you think this record suffers at all from it being the only record where the guy didn't contribute to the writing? Like, do you think... Because what's he going to... how many songs is he going to have people bring him? It would have been interesting to see what that process was like, right? If he said, this is the kind of record I'm looking to do, bring me a bunch of songs. How many songs... I mean, my God, could you imagine the songs that were rejected by him off this record? And it's just, I wonder if there's any part of it. I know you guys don't think it's a bad record, but...
I don't think it probably went like that. I think it was probably, I got to make a solo record, and here are my close confidants, Sean Delaney and Stan Penridge, and they just said, here are the songs.
What do you have? Or maybe even...
It doesn't matter. I mean, because, I'm comparing him to Elvis, but, Elvis didn't do a lot of songwriting.
Right.
Either, so it doesn't really matter if you're not the songwriter of the songs.
I guess I'm just talking about the vibe of the record, whereas the other three were more or less successful. This one, I think if anybody was going to say in the Kiss community that which solo album was least successful, it would be this one, I think, probably, right? So do you think it suffers at all because there was no real creative intent behind it or no real creative vision?
I think it suffers because it does not play to Kiss's audience. The market that were going to buy it don't want a record like this. He wanting to do solo and send it somewhere else, whether he succeeded or failed in that task. But they brought him back in and sold it back to that same market, and it was always going to fall flat in its face. He should be angry at that, being sort of pulled into that kind of world, whereas he wanted to go, well, this is my other side. But the minute you put a Kiss face on it and Kiss logo on it and market it as a component of the four, it's always going to fall flat because that wasn't his. I don't think that was his intention to.
I think what Joe is maybe trying to say, correct me if I'm wrong, is that he doesn't care about any of that. The fact that it could have been Joe Schmo putting this record out, and the songs are just terrible, and it doesn't. It wasn't going to do well no matter what audience you tried to sell it to.
Yeah.
I think that's, he just doesn't think that there's any redeeming qualities essentially to the record at all.
No.
Song wise. And, I think that's a bit harsh. I think there's a few really decently written songs on here by Sean, not so much by Stan, but by Sean for sure. But I certainly can see your point. It's like anything. Peter's not a songwriter,
right?
At all. He doesn't write anything, and it's like Ozzy Osbourne. Ozzy didn't write anything.
Right.
Never wrote anything. Came up with some titles and hummed some melodies to Bob Daisley and Randy Rhoads and Jakey Lee and all of those guys, and they wrote those incredible songs around his voice. It's the same thing.
Would Ozzy have written the melody lines, like say when Tony Iommi came up with War Pigs? Would Ozzy have written?
Yes, that's usually what Ozzy is credited for. If you read Bob Daisley's book, for Fact's Sake, which is one of the best rock books ever written, in my opinion, especially when he's talking about the formation of Blizzard of Oz up through the last thing that he worked on in No Rest for the Wicked. He basically wrote every single song on all of those albums, with the exception of, Phil Soussan, who wrote Shot in the Dark. He basically says Ozzy would come in and he would hear a riff that Randy had, or he'd hear a riff that Jake would have, and he would say, that sounds like Bark at the Moon. And he said, and then I would take that line, I would take that title, and I would structure a song around it that fit Ozzy's persona, or Ozzy would come in and Randy would have a riff and he would be humming a melody to it, and I would be jotting words down, sitting beside him, because he wants to write this. But yeah, I think those staccato kind of rhythms that Ozzy has, those Black Sabbath songs had. Generals gather, and I think that is so simplistic. I think he come up with that melody line, and Geezer Butler, who wrote all of those lyrics, sat down and took that melody line and wrote those lyrics.
But I suppose there's a portion of a song that a melody line is as important as a if you didn't write the lyrics and didn't write the music. If you came up with that line that is quite iconic, then he's technically a writer. I don't know if Peter Criss did any of that, because if you listen to the Lips demo, so that forms about 8 of the songs or 6 of the songs. They're all pretty much formed totally 100% without Peter's involvement, or with Peter on drums. But
what's even more interesting about this record is he doesn't even play drums on half the thing.
Actually, I thought that, but when I looked on the world's most accurate site, Wikipedia, it's only 3 songs that he doesn't play drums on.
Okay, all right, so he doesn't play songs.
Can't Stop the Rain.
Yeah.
But I always heard that wasn't he recovering from a car crash and couldn't drum, or
supposedly that's the story.
Yeah, I can't remember.
He was a car crash on his solo album, a car crash in Dynasty, and
car crash in his marriage.
I think it had more to do with his producer Vinny Poncia said, we need somebody else who can actually keep time. Not to bash too much on Peter, because Peter was great for what he did for Kiss early on.
And the band, I don't think the band would have sounded as great as it did without him on the drums. He brought such a life to those early tracks, for sure. But it seemed to careen off the rails pretty.
Well, and when you start writing more in, I don't know what kind of word, more mature, more involved kind of music, where it needs more than 4 on the floor, something like Sure Know Something, or I Was Made for Loving You, that needs, you've got to have good timekeeping skills. You need somebody like an Anton Fig that can play the drums, or an Alan Schwartzberg, who isn't he the drummer on I Can't Stop the Rain, that kind of stuff. Those great session players.
Yeah.
So
I wonder if from the very point, I wonder if from the point where Beth hit big, Peter's mind was always getting out from behind the drum kit. Therefore, the time spent wanting to be there, the time spent, behind the kit was wanting to be less and less. Therefore, Peter seems to be the guy that, if he's really into it, like when people meet him, they go, he's either the super sweetest, loveliest member, or in the past has been a complete asshole. And because of whatever mood he's in, that's the version you're going to get. So when Peter wanted to be the rock and roll drummer, he was great in the early days. And then as soon as he started his focus meant, I should be out the front, I should be singing, you weren't going to get great drumming from him ever again, to that level again. Because he wasn't into it, anymore.
Right. Beth was definitely a double-edged sword, where it kind of saved the band and put them, in the forefront of a top 40 audience outside of diehard Kiss fans. It, really blew his delusions of grandeur, really into the stratosphere, that ego way into the stratosphere. And then you get exactly what you're saying. I'm the most important member of the band. I saved the band. I need to have more songs on the record, but he can't write. And if you don't let me have these, right, so, it's a double-edged. It was a double-edged sword for sure.
Yeah.
So, but we're way off the rails here.
That's okay. Leads us into easy things. The easy thing.
You want me to go?
Yeah. Let's hear it.
For an easy thing, this is an impossible song to listen to. Awful vocal, awful. 1 out of 10.
Yeah, he's a little pitchy, as Randy Jackson would say. On
it was definitely a little bit on the pitchy side.
No, dog, I ain't feeling it, dog.
No, dog, I ain't feeling
no, dog.
He's a little pitchy on it, but I think it's
I was surprised in having gone back and listening to it as an adult, at how that vocal got on tape and then onto a record.
Well, I think Gene, what he said about Peter in the past is absolutely true. And you can hear it in a lot of the live stuff. Peter is clearly tone deaf, and I think he gets lucky on some of these belts and screams, or they probably just do it so many times to get him down in the pocket on key. But when you get him in a vulnerable, subtle moment, that's why One for All is a disaster. Because it's all that kind of stuff. And you cannot get him on tape in key because he's tone deaf. So that's why that I would think that's why that vocal exists the way it does on any Easy Thing, is probably because that was the best. And there was no such thing as auto-tune. So, I mean, how many times can you do it and say,
Well, and Peter might say, I'm not doing that again.
Right.
And whose name is on the record, and that's a take, and I'm out of here.
Right. And then just, moving into my skipper play version, opinion of Easy Thing, I quite like the song Easy Thing, but I certainly see your point as far as the vocals being all over the place. But I think it kind of lends a vulnerability to it. I definitely play this song. It's not, I like songs on side one a lot better than that. But I certainly see your point, Joe.
So skip or play?
I'm playing it.
Nicholas?
This is a real. It's almost like skip and play. If I could do different parts of the songs, it's like I totally agree when he's in that low. Oh, love isn't so. That sort of very start bit. It's really weak. You'd want him to redo that vocal. It's pretty bad. The bit I like is when the strings really start to build up. Like, I love the string section coming in and trying to build it into, it sort of builds and builds and builds.
Yes.
And but you really feel that laugh. And he does that big blah. And the voice, again, goes back to what I was saying before. When he hits that scream, I go, wow, Peter Criss. But it's the start bit, that tender, handing you a rose singing at the start, which makes it. I probably tend towards skip, but I do love that little middle bit when the strings build it up to a crescendo kind of thing.
Yeah, I think it's it's a very well constructed, dynamic kind of song. It certainly builds and builds and gets to a good point there. It just execution, wasn't the best. So.
Back to your American Idol analogy, Jason. It's the it's watching those kids who come in there who can't sing. They do the big build up. They're like, oh, I've been in the school play and my parents say and this and that, and then they start to sing and the judges are like, this is terrible. Yet the person singing it can't hear it.
That's right.
And they have people lying to them, and that's what
right.
That's what this sounds like to me. It's crazy.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of truth to that with this guy, and a lot of people are gonna disagree, but Gene has said it all along that he thinks Peter has the rawest and the best sounding voice of any of the members of the band, but he's tone deaf. So it capturing that properly on tape is difficult.
Yeah, you wonder what those sessions were like on Beth, because anytime he tries to be nuanced and hit a mark and hit a beat and nail a phrase, it is a disaster.
Yeah,
he never ever gets it right.
That's right.
Which is odd, as you'd say, from the rhythm keeper in the band to have a poor sense of the timing of when you would come in for those kind of things.
Well, that's the thing. All of those early Kiss albums and songs, and especially live, he's pushing and pulling all over the place. But that's what made them exciting.
Yeah,
And, it was wild. It felt wild. It felt unbridled. It had a little bit of that Stooges MC5 rawness.
Right.
Like, oh man, is this thing, like, it's exciting to watch. The White Stripes, is this exciting to watch this thing almost blow apart at the seams?
That's it.
Like,
That's it.
But they somehow keep it together, and it's this raw animal. And then you get this thing, and you're like, oh my gosh, what a lifeless piece of drivel.
That's why all of the people that are huge Peter Criss fans and huge early 70s Kiss fans hate Eric Singer, because Eric Singer is a metronome.
He's a precision
timekeeper.
machine.
He's a precision machine, and he plays those songs to the money.
He loves watches.
Right. And a lot of people will say, that's right. And a lot of people will say that Eric takes the life out of the songs. Peter Criss was the life of those songs. And there's a ton of truth to that.
Well, the
Because-
joke is Eric swings like a rusty gate. You know, it's kind of like he's so locked into that thing that there's no free feel. To
I
it.
love
Like,
Eric Singer as a drummer. I think he's an
too.
amazing technical drummer. But you could see where if you put him in a punk band, he would be like, But you
He'd be
got-
like,
you didn't hit the you cut, right? You know,
Yeah.
like
yeah.
I want that wildness of those first records and those first live performances. That's what, where he's kicking over the drum set and like the stands are almost falling apart, like all that stuff, right? That's when it's fun and exciting for me as a rock and roll fan,
Right.
I saw a weird thing that somebody mentioned online, which is probably just a strange theory, but it seems like anytime you join Kiss, it all starts off great and it all goes downhill. So Peter was like this wild man, and then his drumming sort of faded out. Then you got Eric Carr, on Creatures and that, but by, you sort of, as you got towards, not through any fault of his own, but as you got towards the end of the 80s, he was pretty much, it's not the greatest drums on, on Hot in the Shade or that. It wasn't his finest moment.
Machine. Most of it was
exactly.
a machine.
But even before that, it's not. His best work is at the start. Same as Eric Singer, strangely. Revenge. Like what drumming on that and on that Revenge tour. Like I was blown away by Eric's drums when he used to do stuff like Parasite and. And watching you and stuff like that.
He made the band feel heavier.
That.
I mean, the drums on those.
But then again, as time's gone on, something's kissified into you and just watered it down just a bit.
Oh, yeah, he's definitely watered down
but
now.
not
And
just him, all three of them seem to start it off great and sort of to tail off a bit. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, it's an interesting observation for sure.
Well, just even look at not to get back into history, but it's like you go from 74 to 81, and you look at the massive difference in what the band sounds like, looks like, feels like. I think we were all attracted to that raw, black, silver, greasy, diplomat. Just all that stuff. You know what I mean? Like we're hungry, and we're this raw power. We're this caged animal ready to be unleashed, and then it's unleashed, and then it kind of becomes a house cat, and that's kind of what this record feels like to me on steroids.
I get that. I can see that.
He was a wild man, and then you come to this, and you're like, really, dude? Like this is it?
I can see that.
It's the Beth factor, isn't it? It's what Beth did to his mind in terms of what he thought he should be and what he thought he could be, and perhaps
it could certainly be. And I think it lends a lot of credence to how great Ace was on his solo record, because my God, he took it and went, I'm going to 10 on this thing.
11.
And I'm gonna kill it, because this is this is inside me, and I am still a raw, rock animal, and he just turns in this smoking record that the rest of the guys must have gone, oh man.
And it doesn't date to this day. You put on Ace's one, and it's like the energy out of that straight out of the gate. It's like whoa.
Yeah, I mean a song like Ozone to me it's classic. I mean it's Snowblind stuff is just killer. I don't know. All right, where are we?
We'll do Skipper Play Ace at one point in time.
Yeah. But in the meantime, Rock Me Baby.
Rock Me Baby, Joe's favorite. Unleash.
Holy
we're
hell.
talking about, and now we're going.
I wrote Rock and Roll 101 Drivel. Is this different than any other song on the record? It just felt like the rock songs were just that bar band, four on the floor thing you were talking about, Jason. It's that honky tonk, snooze fest, white boy blues garbage. Junk. 2 out of 10. Skip it every single time.
He says play. Joe says play.
Yeah, play.
Yeah. 2 out of 10. Drivel. Play.
Yeah.
I love torture. Yes, I don't necessarily disagree with you about that. That this song falls into that kind of category exactly how you're. I don't disagree with that bar band kind of explanation or adjective for it. That being said, I think the song is fun. And I don't mind it, so I'm going to play it. Did you hear any of that, Nicholas, or were you completely frozen?
Yeah. No, I heard all that.
Okay, all right.
It was all broken up, but that's okay.
all right.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah. I mean, it's funny. Like, I listened to this album twice. Once in the car and once on album the other day, and actually really enjoyed the album from start to finish mostly, apart from a few bits. But I think maybe Joe's kind of seeping into me here, and his critical analysis is starting to influence me a little bit. And yeah, I don't know. This song is a bit run of the mill. This one, and I know what's coming up next, which is my worst song on the album. So, this is a skip, and it may be followed by another skip for an album that I actually.
Man.
When I put it all on in one go without sort of analysing it and just listening to it, it was great in the background while I was working. But yeah,
I mean, each song is the formula. Like now we're back to the rock and roll formula from the beginning of the record. Like, oh, we've done a couple really crappy ballads. Let's wake everybody up again with the same stuff from the beginning. And it's like, this is the same song as. I mean, it's the same song as "I'm Gonna Love You" or "Tossing It," just like awful. Awful. Does this have? I don't even know. Does this have female background singers in it? This thing is terrible. Oh my god.
It's very Bob Seger kind of sound.
I hate Bob Seger.
Yeah.
And Bob Seger is the good version of this.
Yeah.
You didn't like "Strut" by Bob Seger?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a killer song.
It
man.
is.
Was he Take the Money?
Even if you're not a fan.
He was Take the Money and Run as well. Was that him?
What?
No, Take the Money and Run
Miller.
is Steve Miller.
Steve Miller, right?
Yeah.
And Bob Seger was ding 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 ding.
Yeah.
Just take those old records. Yeah, that's what he's trying to do on this, isn't it? That kind of old.
Oh, that honky-tonk bullshit bar band. I can go see it in any suburban town in Michigan. Awful garbage on a Friday night.
I'd like to see you cut.
Okay.
Maybe.
You'd like to see me what? We didn't hear any of that.
Nicholas?
Repeat that. Go ahead. You'd like to see me what?
I'd like to see us in Tom Cruise sliding in across the floor.
No, I don't want to see that.
It's that same kind of feel to it, isn't
I don't
it?
want to see that.
Just take those old records off the shelf. I sit and listen to 'em by myself. Today's music ain't got the same soul. I like that old time of rock and roll.
It's all awful.
Did I cut out?
It's awful.
Yeah, but we got the gist.
Yeah. Yeah. We heard Tom Cruise and Peter Criss together, and we're both out.
Yeah, we know. He sliding across the floor and his. Yeah, no, we don't want to see that. Yeah. All right, Kiss the Girl Goodbye. I can tell both of you love this one.
All right, are you ready for the big surprise of the evening?
Can't. Whatever.
Of the podcast?
Yeah.
This is my highest rated song on the record.
How?
It says, could have been a hit with Paul singing it. Peter is terrible on this song. I like the tune enough, and then it ended with the quote, "Kiss the band goodbye." I could hear the rest of the band going, "Oh, this is how is this getting released at this point?" Like this was a whoever came up with this maneuver. This is brutal.
Yeah.
Tell us how you really feel.
I mean, I can go into more more in depth. Yeah.
Kiss the Girl Goodbye.
There was like a dark bit, right? Maybe in the bridge, if I'm remembering the song wrong. If I'm remembering the song right. There's like kind of a dark bit in the bridge, and I was like, oh, that
chord punching or something.
Yeah, there's something there that's not a major chord.
It's just before Jason goes on, it sounds like very similar to Dennis Wilson's ballads for the Beach Boys in that kind of mid-70s. He'd always do the ballad, and it'd always have that slight darkness to it, a bit of a like as though he may kiss you goodbye. He almost might punch you in the face goodbye, as well as that kind of like I'm talking about even a domestic violence case. There's that kind of danger to it, and there's something to this song which has a darkness to it. Yeah,
and maybe that's what appealed to me, like a darkness in the light, so to speak.
I don't hate this song as much as you guys do, and I think on that old cassette of me singing, I think that's one of the songs that I did when I was a kid, if I remember correctly. But
I guarantee you performed it better.
Jason's in tune.
Oh, but I
Even 6-year-old Jason was like, "Let's do that again."
Yeah, let's do that again.
Let's at least do a take two.
Yeah.
God. Oh my goodness.
I have a friend who always says, "Great cut print from that Ed Wood movie with Johnny Depp, where they were always on the
bumping the walls."
Yeah, you got to put that in here.
And cut, print. We're moving on.
Great cut print. Like, we got to take. Let's go. Like they were always filming. They were always filming illegally and whatever. He's like, right, let's go. And that's what this is. It's just, yeah. I'm done. Lunch. And the guys are like, what are we gonna do with this tape?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
What would you have paid? I'm sorry. What would you have paid to be in the room when Gene or Paul heard this for the first time, or Ace heard this for the first time? Oh, that would have been priceless.
Yeah, it would have been priceless.
I wonder if management was like, we can't let those guys hear this record before it comes out.
I think it's in that behind the
behind the mask.
Yeah, behind the
Paul?
mask. Paul just goes, I would give this 0 stars.
Yeah.
The whole album, 0 stars. It's like ice cold.
Yeah.
It is awful.
It just it reminds me of Lars Ulrich's dad. I would say delete this.
I would say delete this.
I would say delete that. You know, for me, that doesn't cut it. You know, I'm pretty sure that I really don't think so.
You can imagine them saying that to Peter.
Do it in your best Angela Merkel, Nicholas. I say delete.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
this is a skip. This one's dreadful. This is my least favorite of the sound of Peter's voice. I don't like that. Yeah, he's just best with the rock and roll gravelly voice, and when it disappears, I actually don't enjoy it. So yeah,
I mean that's the thing. He can only hit pitch whenever he's screaming, you know, and outside of that, he can't.
Yeah,
he has no mid range where he can.
Thankfully, in band meetings, he would always be hitting pitch, just be screaming.
Yeah, screaming all the time.
Fuck you, motherfuckers!
So, well, I didn't answer, but you know,
yeah.
Oddly enough, I enjoy this song. Okay, I play it. Dead silence.
Yeah. Wow.
I'm not skipping anything else on the record. So.
Hooked on rock and roll.
Mm-hmm.
No, exact same as Tossin' and Turnin', which is to say bad. It's another one of those dreadful, lifeless rock songs.
Yeah.
No hook, no groove. It's like, here we go, and then it ends, and you're like, okay.
I've been vaccinated with a Victrola needle is not a hook.
No.
That's great.
I actually think that's a pretty creative line.
No.
Yeah. This is my favorite track on the album, and it's so good, I'd give it a 9 out of 10. And I would put it on any compilation if I make myself a compilation of Kiss, including the solo albums, Hooked on Rock and Roll goes on it. It's just, It's got so much energy to it. I absolutely love it. I mean,
I love it too.
Section, it's got that it's got a swing feel to it over the top of the rock and roll. I don't know. I love this one. This is a hit song kind of thing. Except it wasn't, but in my mind, it's a hit song anyway. And a way bigger improvement than the Lips country version we're going to put in here.
I've seen cases like this before. Your boy's been vaccinated with a Victrola needle. He's hooked on rock and roll. Oh, yeah, right.
And it's also had a great guitar solo by Steve Lukather again.
Right.
Probably saved the song. So, yeah, I don't know. 9 out of 10, or even 10 out of 10, because I would always listen. I would listen to this one every day of the week. This is a great song. But I must have a caveat here.
I just can't believe. I can't even believe.
Here's my caveat. Is that I love some of that naff kind of late 70s Andy Gibb kind of, Bob Seger-y, even though I didn't know any of his songs before, that kind of feel to that late set. Even those later John Lennon, where they got 100 people in the studio and a mountain of cocaine and it's all gone really bad. But I kind of like some of the excesses of the late 70s. So this has that feel to it. You can imagine there would be 15 or 16 session musicians sitting in for this song. So yeah, it's a big love from me.
2 out of 10. Brutal.
Clearly, it's a big love for Nicholas. I don't even like it that much.
No, I hate this record. I hate this song. I hate this. I hate that we had to do this. It's brutal.
All right, let's get to the last song. I Can't Stop the Rain. Let's hear it, Joe.
I can't stop the rain. Please don't stop the rain. I was praying for a biblical flood to kill us all 2 bars in. 0 out of 10. Worst song on the record.
Unbelievable. I'm dumbfounded.
Brutal.
Absolutely dumbfounded.
Awful. I think it's the only song that scored a 0 out of 10 for me. It is.
I just...
Yeah.
All joking and kidding aside, it's amazing how different people's opinions are, because I not only think that's one of the best song on the record, I think it's one of the best songs Peter has ever done. I think it's brilliantly written. I just think it's a great, great song. Love it.
Yeah. Again, it's a great.
This record is as good as Nicholas's internet connection.
It's me then. Poor connection again.
Yeah, we didn't hear any of that. We're probably all better off for it.
Okay. Still says poor connection here.
Yeah, but it looks better on this side.
Yeah.
Okay.
Try.
No, I'd say this is probably an 8 out of 10 for me. Yeah, like it's a big soaring ballad. Absolutely love this song. Great tune. The only questionable bit is that it takes a witch to curse that goddamn sky lyric. That's a little bit too Wizard of Ozzy, for me. Although, it's not.
It's camp like this one goes out to Rachel.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm Sean Delaney writing it. I'm sure witches and all that kind of stuff is fine. I really like this track. This one and Hooked on Rock and Roll and I'm Gonna Love You are my top 3 from this, and this is one of my always listen to ones. Those 3 tracks. Yeah,
I would say, Nicholas, those are my top 3 as well. That's what I would choose too. My top 3 favorites. Yeah.
Here's what I can almost guarantee. Almost with 99.9% certainty, unless I'm forced into another situation like this, I will never listen to this record again.
Wow.
Never.
How many copies do you have in your vinyl collection?
52.
52. So I love the record and I've got 1 copy.
Yeah, I don't know. Probably 15.
Yeah.
10.
15 copies.
Somewhere around there. Yeah. It's terrible. God, is it terrible.
15 copies of a record that you probably think that's one of the worst records ever put on tape, right?
I mean, from a rock perspective, yes. It would go on one of the worst record lists of all time, in my opinion. Wow. I mean,
Wow.
And I know there's some real stinkers out there, but my God, this thing's in a horse race for one of the worst rock records of all time.
Oh my goodness, this is brutal.
So what's the overall scores we're giving the entire album? You have an overarching.
So you got an average there at it's 1.7.
Yeah, it's about it. 18, 19, 21. So like a 2.1 out of 10.
I personally would probably give the record a solid 6.
So hang on a second. If you say 6, is there any Kiss record that is worse than this to you?
Oh yeah, I think Psycho Circus is worse than this record.
Oh my gosh.
Monster, Sonic Boom.
Psycho
Oh
Circus.
my gosh.
Tried.
Yeah.
I
From
think
beginning to
Monster
end.
and Sonic Boom are not good. But at least
I love
one
some
of
Monster Song.
at least one of those has Modern Day Delilah on it.
Yeah.
And one of those has Long Way Down on it. And
Yeah.
my God, there is nothing even in the same galaxy as this record. So if you say 6, Psycho Circus is a worse. You would listen to this over Psycho Circus?
Any day of the week.
Psycho Circus, the song alone, would put it into the category of being a better record than
Campy.
I don't disagree, but my God, man.
Yeah, I don't like the sound. I don't like the production of Psycho Circus. I think all of the Kumbaya, We Are One crap is
Terrible.
Camp, terrible. Can't stand it. It just sounds like a big hollow can of mush. I think Psycho Circus is the worst record in the catalog. Always have, always will.
I'd put Carnival of Souls less than this, Monster less than this, Sonic Boom less than this, even perhaps Animalize worse than this, because it's just unlistenable guitar songs.
Oh my gosh!
You got to remember, almost all the music I listened to from a very late 60s, very late 70s. So this hits the magic period for me of music around then. There's something about the production I like.
Look, I actually think the production on this, the production on this record, I was surprised when I went and listened to it. The instrument separation and like all that, from that standpoint, I think Nicholas, you had talked about it in one of our texts back and forth or something. The bass lines, the precision of the bass, the way that it's captured, I think all that is completely stellar. So I
Vinny
think the production,
Poncia is a great producer.
Yeah,
I think
so. You because you said imagine Kiss listening to this and going, "Oh, got to get rid of this guy," but you can go and hire his producer.
Exactly,
that's exactly what they did.
Weird. Like I love the sound of it, but dear God, Peter can never appear on more than one song on an album ever again.
Yeah,
brutal.
Yeah. But yes.
Yeah, I'm not a Psycho Circus fan. Now there are a couple of songs on Psycho Circus that I like way better than the entire Peter Criss record, but an album as a whole, I would much rather put on Peter's solo album and listen to it.
Yeah, look, Psycho Circus is no gem by any stretch, but I don't know. Within is not a great song. It's a okay song. It's listenable. It's light years better than any of this stuff.
I agree with that. I love Within.
Light years.
Yeah.
And didn't you say? I don't know.
Didn't I say what? Didn't I say what? Come on.
You loved some of the tracks on Psycho Circus. Like love some of the tracks. What tracks did you love on there? Love.
I love Within. I love Journey of 1,000 Years.
Yep.
Yeah, Journey is great.
I liked Psycho Circus. Okay. I like Psycho Circus, but I don't love it.
Yeah.
And what else? Pledge Allegiance to the State of Rock and Roll. I like that song.
Yeah.
The worst song in the entire Kiss catalog.
We Are One.
Is housed on it.
I
on
pledge.
Psycho Circus.
No, it's.
I finally found my way to you.
Oh, I finally found my way.
By far and away the worst song in the catalog.
Oh no kidding.
Yes, and it's sung by Peter. But it's written by Paul.
Shock.
It's written by Paul and Bob Ezrin.
Brutal.
It's absolutely garbage.
Yeah.
Absolutely garbage. And I don't say that about any Kiss song.
I almost think of Paul and Bob going, watch this.
Watch this.
He's gonna sing this song.
I think we mentioned that in the episode.
Found my way. They had to be like,
horrible.
Oh man.
Horrible. But again, Joe.
Yeah, you got it, Peter. We're good. You nailed it, dude.
Let's go.
Yeah. Great cut print.
But again, I have such fond memories of listening to this record when I was a little kid.
Yeah.
And loving it.
Yeah.
every song, listening to it, singing at the top of my lungs. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old. I loved it, and so it's hard for me to separate that because these songs are ingrained in my mind, in my brain. No different than any of those other albums. That's why this game is difficult for me to play, because essentially speaking, if I was being totally and 100% truthfully honest, Kiss through Lick It Up, there's not a song I skip. And yes, that includes Just a Boy and Odyssey. Not a song. Not a single song.
I skip a lot.
So.
Yeah. I've always liked a bit of the naff, the kitsch, the, like even in my other interests, like even a lot of people, like, huge Doctor Who fan, and people will say it's all bubble wrap and wobbly sets, and I go, I don't know, that's part of the magic to it, and there's something about these. Even there's a kitschness to this album. It's not. I wouldn't put it up there with a classic album, but there's a certain feel to it, a 70s. It's a bit dorky in the same kind of way as what was that one on Paul's one that he does? Hold Me,
Touch Me.
Touch. You think of, you kind of go, this is a good song, but at the same time, it's a bit, it's a teeny bit embarrassing kind of thing, A
little bit.
Yeah, it's a bit of schmaltz is probably the word for some of this album. It's a bit, as Joe says, forced. He doesn't like that, but I don't mind it being a bit schmaltzy and a bit, like a little bit so shit it's good kind of in that kind of realm.
Yeah, but it's like it's so pretentiously bad, like it's earnestly bad. I believe that this is good kind of bad, not like wink wink nudge nudge. I get it, and we're kind of along for a fun ride here.
Yeah,
this thing is just earnestly bad.
I think Sean Delaney got the so bad it's good wink wink with all of his 6 foot hot look all American man, written obviously from the perspective of from him, and a little bit of Rocket Ride and a little bit of throwing that witch line in there. You can probably think he probably respect, but I think Peter would have been dead serious. This is my chance to shine kind of. Right. I don't think he would have been thinking it was humorous or tongue in cheek at all.
Right.
The Emperor has no clothes.
Yeah.
Brutal.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Well,
that it?
Yeah. It's almost time for something else. Yeah.
That was absolutely
from one Catman to another Catman.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
we'll bring out an old member of the family now, right?
Yeah. Let's bring in.
As part of our contract stipulates that we must not wear the same clothes when we interview him. We must all change clothes. So you'll notice that.
And here we go.
Yeah. Andrew Scambatti, my friends. All right, everyone, let's welcome Andrew Scambatti back to the show.
Hey. It's good to be. Absolutely nothing has changed. It's like time had stood still, and I'm back at my desk again.
That's right. Back at your desk. All right. So Andrew's on here to talk about something really cool that's going to be coming out still October 31st. Is that when it's coming?
Well,
that's when he says it's going to come out. This dude can never wait until the date or the time that he's been promising, whether it's a month before or 6 months before. So I'd look for it maybe around the 27th or 28th, or well, he'll say, "I need to get 500 likes, and then I'll let it go." It could be tomorrow. So why don't you go ahead and tell everybody when you're going to?
Well,
it's his goal.
As of this current time, it's still Halloween, but. I've been getting more questions from more people than I have in the last 2 months that I've been talking about this.
What are we talking about?
Yeah, what is this, Andrew? We didn't even say what it was.
I was going to get to it. I was going to get to it.
You got to tell the kids.
Yeah, I've been getting more questions about it. But what it is, it's I'm here to. I'm on my press tour, worldwide tour. Like Nicholas was on his book tour, and I'm on this tour. It's The Greatest Show on Earth, the Encore edition. So it's a brand new edit of The Greatest Show on Earth, which is the fan film I released last October and then kind of said it was me last December. So I'll go into more detail what it is. But like I said, over the last couple of days, I've been getting so many messages from people, even from actual friends of mine who talk to me on a regular basis, are like, "Hey, where's the link?" I'm like, "Guys, I've I've literally plastered every Kiss Facebook group for the last 2 months saying it's going to be Halloween. Every picture I put up there says Halloween on it. So
it doesn't matter. People hit us up. Where's the book? Where's the record? Have you shipped the record? Is the book
every single day?
No one reads anymore.
No. So just like I did with Kiss at Midnight, maybe I'll let it leak out. But what's actually kind of forcing my hand a little bit is there's a lot of friends of mine who are either getting ready to or traveling to Miami for the Kiss cruise. So I'm like, well, maybe this will be a cool thing for people to watch while they're sitting in the airport or they're waiting at the dock. So maybe I'll do that for them so they could kind of watch it and do something, get excited for the Kiss cruise, because I've been on 2 Kiss cruises and it's a lot to get excited about. So who knows? Maybe I'll do something. I don't know. It's been done for I don't even know how long, which was a huge weight off me. So maybe we'll see.
I'll bet $1,000 on the under.
No, I'll take your bet on that one. So you just give me $1,000. $1,000 right now.
So Andrew, do you want to tell the people out there what they'll expect that's going to be different? So they saw it before, everyone loved it, you got such a great response for it. But what's the motivation to watch it again? What has changed?
Well, it's kind of weird, and I wanted to talk about it first on this show because this show directly relates to why I decided to do this. While I was on my way out to LA, to see you guys and celebrate Nicholas's book and the great things that you guys have been doing together. For some reason, I like Spider-Man Far From Home and the Avengers, I wasn't able to watch it on my phone. I was like, what did I do wrong? I've done this hundreds of times before, so I'm like, all right, so The Greatest Show on Earth is still on my phone, so let me just watch that just to pass the time by on the plane. And I watched The Greatest Show on Earth. I was like, man, I don't even like it anymore. I just watched it, and I just tore it apart the whole way. I made all these notes, and I was like, I don't like this. This is out of sync, and this is bad, and this and that. So I kind of took a George Lucas-like approach to this, and I decided I wanted to go back and give a definitive version of it. Go back and realize that, yes, I can do this, and realize that, well, if I can do it, I can do it better. Because while I was making The Greatest Show on Earth, I didn't know if I was going to be able to do it, or if I did it, if it was going to be any good. So I've got a lot of great feedback from a lot of listeners, and I really, really appreciate everyone that took the time to watch it and send me a message about it. So once I knew that I could do it, I was like, well, let me do this better. Let me make it more like a cinematic experience. Let me, mat it in widescreen. Let me go back in and start a brand new sync and really, really use Largo as the cornerstone of this thing, and brand new color correction. So that was the first thing I wanted to do. I wanted all the concerts to match better. So I went in and I
was surprised to see Jabba the Hutt inserted into that one scene.
You think I had a choice?
I filmed him for the first one, so I slapped it on there. So
yeah, when you said George Lucas approach, everybody was like, "Oh God, no!"
Oh my God!
Well, I mean,
please never release it.
I mean, there are some things that George did that I think were good. I mean, George should have just fixed the things that were wrong, like fix the misrotoscoped lightsabers, fix the bad green screen. He should have just fixed those things. He shouldn't have added garbage in those movies. So I just went back in and I just decided, I was like, let me just give this a really great spit shine, and let me give this the care that it deserves. And the one thing that kind of stood out to me most of all, when I did Kiss at Midnight, which is nearing 70,000 views, which is amazing. So thank you to everyone that watched that. The thing that stood out to me about Kiss at Midnight is, since I used one interview during Kiss at Midnight, it kind of tied everything together a little better than anything that I'd done before. The original version of The Greatest Show on Earth, there's about 14 or 15 different interviews in there. So while I wanted to make them sound as much alike as I could, you could hear that it was a lot of different interviews. So I kind of look back at the collection. I go, what's the longest interview that could kind of tell the Kiss story? And I could work in these different clips. So I decided to use a Tomorrow Show and keep that as like the story portion of it, like, because Kiss kind of tells their whole story up until that point. So I know the movie is set in 1977, but I thought it was a good way to tie everything together by using this interview from 79, because it unifies the story in a way that I really couldn't have done before. So I redid all of the documentary footage in there. I redid telling the story. I still include all the cool clips, the Coventry clips and the Mike Douglas clips and Gene's hair catching on fire and clips like that. But I let Kiss tell the story from the point of them in 1979, The Tomorrow Show. So I took all the silly stuff, all Ace making jokes and all that stuff, and I tried to keep it as serious as possible to tell this story because I still wanted to tell the same story. So I did that, and I went back in, I color corrected it, and I also added 2 more songs. I added I Want You and Making Love, which were absent from the original issue of the film. And I wanted to make it as good as I can. I wanted to make it better. So I thought The Greatest Show on Earth was great. So if you enjoyed The Greatest Show on Earth, you're going to absolutely love The Greatest Show on Earth Encore Edition. And yeah, I mean, I could ramble on about this for hours and hours, but
I was going to ask.
Yeah.
I was going to ask, was there any temptation to put back into the? I don't know how you would have done it, but put back in songs that didn't, because obviously Alive 2 cuts out all the live songs from Alive, and then they added a few, faked, almost slightly faked studio ones like Hard Luck Woman, and I think of another, maybe Tomorrow and Tonight or something. Was there in any way, was it Tomorrow and Tonight? Yeah. Was there any temptation to somehow include those or try and include the songs that were cut off that they actually played live?
No, it wasn't, because I wanted the Alive 2 album to be the official unofficial soundtrack to it. So I was never going to include songs like Firehouse or songs that were on Kiss Alive that were part of the Alive 2 set that didn't make Alive 2. Plus, it wouldn't have sounded. It would have sounded jarring. You would have been hearing, because these live albums, they sound very, very different. So to go from an Alive 2 track to an Alive track would have taken you out of it. I wanted to suspend as much disbelief as I could while watching this. I want you to sit down and maybe not even know that I did anything. Maybe not even know that I took Houston and Largo and had to slow down certain shots or speed up certain shots to make them sync to the audio. So I wanted you to sit down and be like, oh, well, this looks like something that Kiss could have put out. So I think if I had done that, if I had used tracks from Alive, I think it would have taken away from the product. I think you would have been like, oh, this is a fan creation because these sound so different. So I never wanted to do that. I really did want to include King of the Nighttime World, but I just didn't have enough footage to include that. I only had the footage from the Largo show.
Right. So as a filmmaker,
mm-hmm.
and someone who's pretty much not happy with immediately not happy with the product that they've just made, and want, just like you said, you want to go, you watched it and you were like, hey, I don't even really care for this anymore. I want to redo it. Do you think that'll happen to you again after this particular edit?
I don't think so. Because I learned so much in putting The Greatest Show on Earth together that I used what I learned during The Greatest Show on Earth, and I did Kiss at Midnight, which I still watch that, and I'm like, man, this is still really cool. So I don't think I'm going to go back and like redo The Greatest Show on Earth. This is the definitive version. This is when I thought of this idea in October 2017. This is what I wanted to do, and let me tell you, when I was doing it, I mean, you guys know, I mean, maybe not so much Joe, just because Joe wasn't really in the mix at the time yet, but you guys kind of know that I wanted to give up 2 or 3 times, and I didn't know if I could do it. I didn't know if it was going to be good. I thought that, I announced it even before I had a rough cut. So I was like, well, I can't like say I'm going to do something and not do it. So there was so much gray area when I was putting the original version of this film together that I didn't know if it was going to be possible. Now that I know it's possible, I was able to kind of just take it up and make it that much better. I mean, the main thing that I wanted to do was just recolor correct it, because when you watch these Largos and Houston shows, they look very different.
Right.
But I wanted to make them look as close together as I could. So I think I did a pretty good job in doing that, just because people that I showed the film to, they don't know that I took 2 concerts and put them together.
Right.
And I showed it to a Kiss fan. She's in Australia too. I showed it to her, and she was like, this is great. She's like, you made this exciting.
Right.
She didn't know that she didn't know that I was like syncing this footage. She thought I just dropped in concert footage. I was like, no, you don't understand. The coolest part about this is you're watching 2 different shows and listening to something totally different. she went back and watched it and goes, "Oh my God, you're right. I didn't even realize that's how convincing it was." When you're watching this, you don't know that I combined three things together to make one product.
Unless you're an eagle-eye bootleg observer.
well, yeah,
like you.
Like
Like
you
me.
too, Jason.
Like Joe, yeah.
Joe, do you even
So
have
you'd be sitting there going, Largo, Houston, Largo, Houston, Houston, Largo.
Do you know what's really terrible? When I saw the last tour, the end of the road tour, when I saw that and they would like do those clips, and even in the original farewell tour in 2000, when they would show like different clips of the band on the screen, I would like nudge the guy next to me and go, and it's Houston 76. I would know what they were
I've
from.
absolutely done that too. Yeah.
He goes, does anyone want to switch seats?
A solar eclipse. The cosmic ballet goes on.
Does anyone want to switch seats?
I'll go sit over here.
These guys are not cool. Get away from me.
These guys are not cool.
This is the part of the movie where the guy dies.
You're that guy.
Yeah, but I think to do something like this, you kind of have to have that knowledge.
Of course you do.
Of,
Yeah.
of these pieces of footage to kind of do what the band didn't do. So the biggest difference between the Greatest Show on Earth Encore Edition and the Greatest Show on Earth is I finally bit the bullet and decided that I was gonna have public screenings of it.
I was just going to ask about that.
Because if you don't know, these are completely works of these are complete labors of love. I'm not making any money off of these. In fact, I'm losing money. Everything that I do, I've lost money on these. But I'm not complaining about that. I've done this
Except
out of
for the
love.
DVD sales, right?
There is no DVD. There's no DVD. There's never going to be a DVD of this.
Of course not.
Yeah,
We
stream it
joke.
stream on Vimeo. That's the only way to get it. And I've been really outspoken about this. That if you really want to enjoy this the correct way, make sure you go and buy these couple of things that I use to put it together. And I'll talk more about that in a minute. But the biggest difference between this version and the previous version is I'm doing these screenings, and I'm doing these screenings quote unquote the right way. I'm showing them in places that have participated in BMI and ASCAP live music licensing. What that means is that these places that I'm showing the film at already pay either a monthly or a weekly or a fee to BMI and ASCAP to be able to play karaoke, have live bands play, have DJs play, and they already pay these corporations that license the music from. So what I'm coming in and doing is Alive 2 is technically the only thing that is copywritten. The picture is completely new. It's a complete and new creation of me. So it's not really tied to any hard copyrights as the music is, because the music is 100% from Alive 2. I took it right from Alive 2. So I'm going to these places that already pay their BMI and their ASCAP licensing, and I'm able to show this, and it's a complete limited capacity. I'm not going on a world tour. I'm not going on a U.S. tour. I'm screening it once in New York, and I'll give you the details later, and I'm screening it once here in Ohio. Both events are completely free of charge. In fact, the event that I'm doing here in Ohio, which will be November 7th at the Winchester Music Tavern, admission is one unwrapped school supply or one non-perishable food item. And I'm taking all of that, donating everything to a local school, and then donating all the food items to Laura's Home, which is the charity that we participated in when we gave with the Gene Simmons Vault. So,
That's right.
So I figure that if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it the right way. I'm going to give back to people that are in need. I'm going to use the popularity of Kiss not to gain monetarily on this, because I don't want to make any money off of this. I'm going to use it and put the money, right back in the community. So I'm going to go on record here and say no one has stopped me.
Somebody stop me!
I've never gotten a cease and desist. This has been out there with my name on it since December 2018. So if someone was going to stop me, it probably would have happened. Yes, it was taken off of YouTube, but that was due to those music algorithms that are on YouTube all over it. So it was a computer that took it. It wasn't a person that took it off.
We get that all the time on when we're touring live bands. We run a trailer, then YouTube blocks it, and then we have to almost we almost have to say, well, the artist has given us permission to put their music to promote them, even though the record company is the one that should be getting paid. So it's it's just the algorithm which wipes it straight away.
So I've never gotten any legal backlash on this film. And I'll be honest, if I did, I would 100% completely cease all operations on it. This isn't me jabbing it to the band. The way that I tell everyone about this is the greatest resume you can ever have. You know, some people, they go to Staples or Kinko's or wherever, they print their resume on this great, awesome, nice-looking paper and everything looks great. This is my resume. I've edited this video from nothing. So if it does anything, I hope it gets the band's attention, or I hope it gets somebody else's attention and says, oh, hey, I'll hire him to do this original project or that original project. That's really what it is. This isn't a money-making scheme. I'm not selling copies for $15 at every Kiss convention. You know, people did that in the 90s, and they suffered for it.
They sure did.
So I won't be doing that. And you guys know, I've been very outspoken about this. Stream this. Don't download it. Don't sell it. Don't share it. If you want to send a message to the band, go and buy a Kiss Alive 2 t-shirt from kissonline.com, or go and buy the brand new 2014 vinyl reissue of Kiss Alive 2, or go buy the Kiss Alive box set that has Kiss Alive 1, 2, and 3 and the Millennium Concert. Go and buy that if you enjoyed the film. Don't give me any money. I don't want any money out of this. I'm not going to take any money.
I'll take Andrew's money out of it.
You can take whatever. But the purpose of this is I have a love for this band, and I got a love for video editing, and I wanted to combine the two. And this has been the most fun I've ever had on a project before in my life. I've made tons of short films. But this was cool. It was cool to sit down and make something for Kiss fans so people could feel how I feel about Kiss. What could be better? What could be better?
Absolutely.
So if you want to see all the details on how you can see this film on the big screen, you could log on to facebook.com/greatest show on earth Kiss. No spaces, no anything. Everything's all lowercase. And you're going to get 2 screenings. You got a screening November 2nd, which is going to be at the Cult Cafe in Huntington, New York, which is Long Island, New York. You'll get an acoustic set from a great Kiss tribute band called Unmasked, and after that, you're going to see the greatest show on earth.
Awesome.
You'll see me there, and if you come out to that one and you're one of the first 25 people in the door, I'm going to give you one of these. This is a cool 11x17 Greatest Show on Earth Encore Edition poster. So you'll get one of these for absolutely free. No, you can't buy them. No, I'm not selling them. This is just something that I did on my own time and on my own dime. And if you're there at this show to support me, this film, and this cool tribute band, you'll be able to get one of these absolutely free. And your next and then your next chance to see it is going to be November 7th here in Cleveland, Ohio at the Winchester Cafe. I've held all my screenings there for all my short films, so come out to a really great place and help support people in need here, so you can come and do that. But as I'm doing this right now, if you can't make it out to any one of those, you can still see it on Vimeo on October 31st.
29th.
25th. I was going to ask you, so, I mean, it may be too early to ask this because you maybe want to talk more about The Greatest Show on Earth, but you've done 2 fan films now and 2 versions of Greatest Show on Earth.
Uh-huh.
What's the next one you want to talk about?
Here comes the question that everybody hates who's ever done a project.
Well, that's
blood, sweat, and tears, and then hey, Nicholas, what's your next book?
I don't hate that, because if you stream The Greatest Show on Earth on October 31st, I put a teaser trailer for my next project in front of The Greatest Show on Earth.
That's right.
So, and Jason, I think you might have even already seen it.
Yes, I have seen it. That's why I asked. My next project, and it's going to complete my Kiss trilogy. You have The Greatest Show on Earth, Kiss at Midnight, and then the third one is going to be called One Last Time. It's a live concert / documentary set in New York City in 2019 on the End of the Road tour. So I used their Madison Square Garden concert as kind of the cornerstone of this project. And it's going to give a brief history of Kiss's End of the Road tour. And then it's going to give my history of the band and my experience on the End of the Road tour. So you'll see footage of me as a kid, dancing to Kiss music. But then you're going to see all the footage that I shot on the End of the Road tour. You're going to see footage of the pre-party where we gave away a Gene Simmons vault.
You're going to see footage of me going to the show, and it's going to be my journey through history through a fan's eyes. So if you like The Greatest Show on Earth and you like Kiss at Midnight, hopefully you're going to like this one too. It's basically my version of Kiss Confidential is what I can compare it to. So, and I shot a ton of footage on the End of the Road tour in March, the pre-party and all that stuff, and it's going to all be combined into a really cool package where you'll get to see some exclusive concert footage, and then you'll get to see some exclusive footage that I shot and got to experience.
What's the audio for this one?
It's
from the audio.
It's from Madison Square Garden, 2019.
Oh, okay. It's not from,
so I kind of
set
too
as well.
Yeah, so it's not from Live 2. No, I kind of set
everything I do is cut to a Live 2.
Everything doesn't matter what I do, it's going to be cut to a Live 2.
Film,
yeah,
Joker film,
just set right to a Joker film, but set to a Live 2. Yeah. But even though I didn't attend the Madison Square Garden show, I thought setting something in New York for one last time is important because Kiss is a New York band. I'm from the New York, New Jersey area, so it made sense. And so you'll get to see a teaser trailer of that before The Greatest Show on Earth. So, and then I think that's going to be it for Kiss films. I think I have taken it as far as I can go.
I don't believe that for 1 second. That's it for Kiss films?
I mean, what else can I do? What else can I do?
I don't know, but... Well, I mean, there's a couple of errors out there that you haven't even dealt with. I mean,
it's true.
At one point in time, you were
mulling
over doing a Hot in the Shade thing.
Yeah, I have about 60 hours of footage of the Hot in the Shade tour. I can do something on it. All right, so maybe that'll be the next one.
You gotta do something non-makeup.
Yeah. I mean, the cool thing about this one last time thing is it if you remember the original version of The Greatest Show on Earth, it was 50% Kiss in 1977 and then 50% Andrew's Kisstory. And it was kind of my journey through Kisstory. But when I decided to make it a true period piece, I took all that footage out and I just had all this footage that I had nothing to do with. So I'm going to kind of put that into this film to kind of tell my story, make it personal.
Right.
And make it like a really cool scrapbook. I mean, imagine if other Kiss fans did something like this. I mean, I would watch. I think it would be something really cool to watch. Like, this is me experiencing Kiss through my eyes. So I've been very, very lucky to experience a lot of things that I have. A lot of cool in-stores, a lot of cool concerts, a lot of cool things. So February 2020 is the release date for One Last Time. So I'm not going to do a huge, marketing campaign like I've done in Greatest Show on Earth. I'm sure people who follow me on Facebook are sick and tired of hearing about The Greatest Show on Earth, but it gets a ton of likes. Yeah, it gets a ton of likes. A ton of people follow the page, and it's been unanimously positive.
Oddly enough, I haven't seen any post about it. That could be because I unfollowed you.
Because we became friends in 2011. He goes follow. He goes, oh, this is the guy from. Yeah, I'm gonna unfollow him. And he's never followed me since then.
Nicholas's job is to hit people on social media and let them know about everything that happens around with all of these different subjects. And even Nicholas is like, enough already.
I mean, Nicholas is too concerned about getting the release dates right of the albums that he has no time to talk about Kiss fan films.
Right. Okay, folks. Support our friend Andrew.
Thank you so much for having me back on it, and thank you so much for letting me talk about this. And anyone that watches it, seriously, thank you so much for doing this. It means the world to me. It really does.
Amen. All right, we'll leave it at that, folks. Andrew, thanks for joining us, man.
Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
We'll talk to you in a bit.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. All right. Like Andrew said, check out Greatest Show on Earth. I actually think he's airing it early. So I think he owes you $1,000, Joe.
And I'm still drinking.
And he's still drinking. So, all right. Skipper Play, Peter Criss solo album. It was brutal. Please tell us your opinion. Skipper Play on each song, wherever you're watching this, in the comments, YouTube, Facebook. It should be interesting, to say the least. Do you all, half of you hate Joe now? I like Joe a lot. So, but but anyway.
As Andy Kaufman used to say after any bit that he would do on David Letterman, he would leave everybody in shambles. Everybody would be running around. There'd be broken chairs, and he would lean over to David Letterman and go, "Send me all the hate mail."
That's right. P.O. Box somewhere in Detroit.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right. Is that it, guys?
Yeah.
I think that's
All
it.
right.
It was a phone.
Yeah.
All right. We'll see you on the next one.
Hi, everybody. It's Gene Simmons, and you're not. This is Kiss My Collectibles podcast. Don't you know that?
Have we lost Nicholas? Have we lost Nicholas's feed?
I don't know.
I've got nothing but
Look
a
at-
smiling Nicholas
Yeah,
on the
look at
camera.
that
He's
smile.
just so. This is how he feels about the record, everybody.
Ladies and gentlemen, Nicholas, how do you feel?
I disagree.
You've lost your mind, buddy.
Oh boy.
And we'll have to see what happens to him here.
Jason, that has got to be the end. This has got to. Let's just be. Let's just be. Just be quiet. Like we just got to cut the. We just got to cut the audio or drop the audio out on this, and this has got to be just like 30 seconds of this of just Nicholas.
Now you guys just froze on me.
Holy shit, that was so funny, man.
Oh man.
What was I frozen on? What was my face?
You were like this.
Oh.
We were talking to you, asking you questions.
Yeah.
What's your opinion, Nicholas?
Yeah. We know what the end bit's gonna be now.